Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're tackling a really significant development, something that's becoming more and more intertwined with how our societies actually function.
You mean AI's impact on democracy?
Exactly, the growing impact of artificial intelligence on, well, our democratic processes.
Yeah, it's definitely a timely discussion. AI isn't just some future thing anymore, is it?
Not at all.
It's actively shaping, how we get political information, how we participate, how governments even monitor people.
Absolutely. And look, this isn't just theory. In this deep dive, we're going to explore some very concrete examples of how AI is being used right now.
Right, and that means looking at both the risks.
Which seem pretty significant.
They are, but also, maybe surprisingly, ways it could potentially help democracy. We've pulled together quite a bit of recent research for this.
Yeah, our goal here is really to distill the key takeaways from all that for you, the listener.
So we'll be digging into AI's role in electoral interference, things like disinformation, microtargeting, and this newer issue, misattribution.
Misattribution. Okay. We'll need to unpack that.
We will. And also AI-powered surveillance, which is expanding, and just the whole ecosystem of AI-driven misinformation.
Okay, let's dive right in then. One area getting a lot of attention is obviously elections, how AI is affecting them. Our sources point to some pretty advanced tactics.
Yeah, starting with disinformation, creating and spreading it.
And generative AI has really changed things here, hasn't it?
Oh, completely. It's not like older AI. This stuff can create incredibly realistic fake content. Deepfakes.
Videos, images, even audio.
Exactly. Which makes it so much harder for anyone, regular people, to tell what's real and what's fake.
It's kind of scary, actually. And this isn't hypothetical. The 2024 U.S. election, for instance.
Right. We saw AI-generated content pop up. Maybe didn't conclusively change the result.
No definitive proof of that, sure.
But it definitely amplified some harmful narratives, fueled polarization. It really muddied the waters.
That's a good way to put it. Even if it doesn't flip votes, it degrades the whole conversation.
That's a critical point. And the sources emphasize how deepfakes chip away at that basic trust we need to have in media, in what we see and hear.
Why are they so effective, though?
Well, partly because they hit us visually, orally, things our brains process very directly. It's hard to consciously override that gut feeling of that looks real or that sounds real.
And over time, that constant doubt could really change how we engage with information generally.
Precisely. And it's not just a U.S. thing.
No, far from it. The research shows deepfakes popping up in elections all over. India, both 2019 and 2024.
Brazil, 2020, 2022.
The Philippines in 22, using AI for targeted ads.
Yeah.
Turkey in 23, where a candidate apparently dropped out, partly because it won.
Argentina, Slovakia, those fake audio clips there in 23 and 24.
And that Biden robocall in New Hampshire earlier this year, that got a lot of press.
It did. Plus Moldova, Pakistan, Poland, the UK. The list just keeps growing. It shows how widespread this challenge really is.
It really does. Okay, so creating fake stuff is one thing, but AI is also being used for really precise voter targeting, micro-targeting.
Exactly. Beyond just the deepfakes.
So, micro-targeting. Unpack that a bit. How does AI make political ads so personal?
Well, think of AI like a superpowered data analyst. It churns through massive data sets, voter records, online activity, consumer data, you name it.
Okay.
And it identifies these incredibly specific segments within the electorate. We're talking really granular.
In there.
Then campaigns can tailor messages just for those tiny groups, playing on specific hopes, fears, interests, maybe even vulnerabilities.
That raises some serious ethical questions, exploiting vulnerability.
That's the worry, yes. It can reinforce biases, maybe even manipulate people in ways they don't realize.
And this was happening in the 2024 U.S. election, too, with foreign actors.
Yeah, that was particularly alarming. The discovery of these AI bot farms linked to the Kremlin in Beijing.
Bot farms, so automated accounts.
Right. But these weren't just spamming randomly. They were designed to mimic actual U.S. voters online, their opinions, how they talk.
Got them on to seem more credible.
Exactly. It helps them spread disinformation more effectively. And they were also analyzing which divisive messages were getting the most traction, which ones really resonated.
Wow. So it's like real-time A/B testing for propaganda. See what works and double down.
Precisely. And it gets more sophisticated. Some AI-enhanced software is now used to create and manage whole networks of fake social media profiles.
It works.
Yeah, not just for show, like inflating follower counts. These fake profiles actively join conversations, run smear campaigns against opponents, artificially boost support for certain ideas.
That paints a really disturbing picture. The potential for manipulation seems huge. But you mentioned something else, AI misattribution. That sounds different.
It is different and maybe even more insidious.
Okay, what is it?
So instead of creating fake content, you take authentic content, a real video, a real photo, a real audio clip, and you falsely claim it's AI generated.
Hey, so you take something real and just lie, saying that's a deepfake.
Exactly. It's like weaponizing the idea of deepfakes against reality itself, dismissing inconvenient truths by labeling them as artificial.
So if a politician says something damaging, or there's video evidence of something controversial,
Their supporters, or even they themselves, can just wave it away. Oh, that's clearly AI generated. We saw hints of this in 2024 with claims about Biden's appearance or a phone call being manipulated when they apparently weren't.
the danger there seems massive. It just destroys trust across the board.
It really does. It erodes trust in the entire information environment. If you can't be sure anything is real, how do you have a shared understanding of events?
Which is fundamental for democracy, right? A shared reality.
Absolutely. Without it, conspiracy theories run rampant because any evidence against them can just be labeled fake AI.
And when influential people push these claims,
It just entrenches those beliefs further, no matter the actual facts. It makes constructive debate almost impossible.
okay, so AI is hitting political information, election integrity,
Yeah.
but it goes further, right? Surveillance is another big area you mentioned.
A huge area. That 2019 AI Global Surveillance Index found 56 countries already using AI for urban surveillance.
56 out of 176. And that was 5 years ago.
Right. Given how fast AI has developed since then, you have to assume that number is significantly higher now.
That's a lot of AI watching cities.
Yeah.
What does that mean for democracy?
Well, for starters, it gives governments monitoring capabilities that were unimaginable before. Really powerful tools.
And the worry is how they might be used.
Especially by regimes less committed to democratic norms. AI surveillance is efficient. It allows them to potentially deter dissent, to monitor unrest, without needing huge numbers of police or soldiers on the streets.
This is like a constant low-level pressure, invisible watcher.
Exactly. The sources call it the digital scarecrow effect.
Digital scarecrow.
Yeah. Just knowing the surveillance might be there, even if its capabilities are exaggerated, can be enough to chill dissent. People become afraid to protest, to organize, to even speak freely online because they think they're being perfectly monitored.
So the perception is almost as powerful as the reality.
It can be. And this has an international angle, too.
How so?
China is a major player here. They're a leading exporter of these surveillance technologies.
Selling them to other countries.
Yes, and actively promoting this model some call digital authoritarianism. Initiatives like the Digital Silk Road are part of this.
So they're exporting the tech and the model of governance it enables.
That's the concern. And their own research is heavily focused on making surveillance AI even better analyzing crowds, re-identifying people across different cameras, detecting attempts to fool facial recognition.
Things that directly serve state control.
Right. And this really challenges that old idea that just trading with countries and integrating them economically would automatically lead them towards democracy.
Because this tech gives authoritarian states new tools to resist that.
It seems to be enabling a more durable, tech-enhanced form of authoritarianism in some places.
Okay, that's quite a sobering thought. Let's shift slightly again. Misinformation ecosystems. You mentioned AI is amplifying these. How does that work?
Well, one key piece of the puzzle is social bots, automated accounts.
Right, we hear about bots a lot.
Research shows they play a really outsized role in spreading junk news, articles from low credibility sources.
Oh.
They're often there right at the beginning, pushing the content before it gets any real traction, kind of seeding it. And they often target users who already have lots of followers.
Trying to hijack bigger accounts to spread the message further? Like super spreaders?
Exactly. What's interesting, though, is that the research suggests if platforms could get better at curbing these bots, it might actually be quite effective in slowing down misinformation online.
So tackling the bots could have a real impact.
It seems plausible. But bots aren't the only issue.
No. What else?
These AI-generated knowledge sources, we're seeing foreign actors use AI not just to write fake articles, but to build entire fake news sites.
Sites that look like real news outlets.
Yeah, designed to mimic them very closely. We saw this before the 2024 U.S. election.
Like that doppelganger network.
Exactly, linked to the Kremlin. They were setting up these elaborate fake sites, often focusing on topics like the war in Ukraine, basically copying and twisting articles from legitimate sources.
And Iran was involved too.
Yes. Using AI chatbots and fake domains to push divisive narratives, generative AI basically puts the fake news part of these influence operations on steroids, makes it faster, cheaper, easier to scale up.
It's like an information arms race, accelerating.
It really is. And then you have automated propaganda.
Okay, what's that?
Using those powerful large language models, the tech behind things like ChatGPT, to automate propaganda creation wholesale.
So not just fake articles, but what?
Entire persuasive narratives crafted automatically. These models are good at understanding language, psychology, cognitive biases. They can generate text designed to subtly manipulate opinion at a massive scale.
And because it's automated, they can pump out huge volumes.
Exactly. Create an illusion of consensus, make it seem like lots of different people are saying the same thing, which makes it really hard for traditional fact-checking to keep up. It's overwhelming.
So it's not just falsehood, it's shaping the whole story, the whole narrative landscape.
Precisely. It's a deeper level of manipulation.
Okay. Given all these threats, deepfakes, micro-targeting, surveillance, bots, fake news sites, automated propaganda, what can actually be done? How do we safeguard democracy?
Well, there's no single silver bullet, obviously, but multiple things need to happen.
Like what?
Education is crucial. Digital literacy. We need people, citizens, to be much better equipped to critically evaluate what they see online.
Understanding how AI fakes work? Spotting manipulation tactics?
Exactly. Being more savvy consumers of information, that's foundational.
Makes sense. What about the tech side?
There's work being done on better detection tools, AI to spot AI fakes, also content provenance systems.
Provenance, like tracking where content came from.
Sort of. Technologies to help verify the origin and authenticity of digital media, like a digital watermark, but more sophisticated. And of course, the big online platforms have a huge role.
Their policies.
Yes. Enforcing policies to limit misinformation spread, cracking down on those social bots we talked about, being more transparent about algorithmic amplification.
And regulation.
Yeah.
Government stepping in.
Absolutely. There's a growing call for ethical frameworks, clear rules of the road for AI development and use.
Finding that balance between letting innovation happen.
And protecting democratic values. Addressing election interference, surveillance overreach, misinformation directly.
Like the EU's AI Act.
That's a major example. The U.S. is grappling with it too, different proposals floating around. It's complex, legally and technically.
And since this is all global,
international cooperation is essential. You can't solve this country by country.
Because disinformation and surveillance tech cross borders easily.
Right. So democracies need to work together. Share information on threats, agree on ethical AI principles, coordinate on countermeasures, push back against that export of digital authoritarianism.
It sounds like a massive undertaking, but necessary.
It is, but it's encouraging that these conversations are happening on multiple levels.
Okay. Now, amidst all this concern, our sources did mention some potential positives. A glimmer of hope.
Yes, it's important not to lose sight of that. AI isn't inherently bad for democracy. It's a tool.
So how could it potentially help?
Well, think about voter turnout. AI could potentially help by providing people with more personalized, relevant information about elections, registration deadlines, polling locations, candidate platforms.
Making it easier for people to participate.
Possibly. Or facilitating citizen engagement. Imagine AI chatbots that can instantly answer questions about government services or policies 24/7.
Okay, I could see that being useful.
Or using AI to analyze public sentiment, looking at social media, survey data, to help governments actually understand what citizens need and think in a more nuanced way.
So better feedback loops between the public and government.
Potentially. And even things like making election administration itself more efficient, or improving public service delivery through smarter resource allocation.
But even with these good uses, the potential for misuse is still there.
Always. The safeguards are crucial. The goal should be using AI to augment democracy, to strengthen it, while being incredibly vigilant about protecting rights and preventing manipulation or exclusion.
Right. It comes back to that balance. Well, this has been definitely a deep dive. Insightful, but also, pretty sobering in parts.
It's a complex picture. AI and democracy. Their relationship is evolving incredibly fast.
And the implications are just massive for all of our futures.
Indeed. It really leaves you, the listener, with a big question, doesn't it?
Which is?
As AI gets woven more and more deeply into our political and social fabric, How do we collectively, individually make sure it ends up strengthening democracy and not undermining it?
That is the crucial question, a powerful point to end on. Thanks so much for walking us through all this today. It's given me, and I'm sure our listeners, a lot to process.
My pleasure. It's a vital conversation, and it's definitely not over.
It certainly isn't. And for you listening, we hope this deep dive gave you some valuable perspectives on this really critical intersection of technology and society. As you go about your day, maybe mull over some of what we discussed. Think about its potential impact and perhaps consider what's your role in navigating this changing landscape. It's definitely food for thought.